How's it going, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH after show. Yes, I am in my kitchen. I wanted to say hello to my new subscribers, and I wanted to talk to you up here because some of you may not know this. My name is Dion, and I am a Canadian. And yesterday I saw everybody out and about in the streets of America, celebrating in the streets, dancing, t-shirts and everything. I just wanted to show y'all what I get to see out of my window. Take a look at this. This is winter. It is already winter in Canada, or at least in Edmonton, where I'm from. And there is snow coming off my roof. By the way, this wasn't like this on Friday. This was completely dry. There was no snow on the ground. This is one day of snow, y'all. Y'all are in your t-shirt dancing and celebrating. I have to wear a jacket and turn the heat on in my house. By the way, if you guys didn't know, this is my dog, George Michael. George. Yes, he's thrilled to meet you. He's super thrilled to meet you. Anyway, nice to meet you, new viewers. Thank you for subscribing. Let's talk about General Hospital. Alright, now that I've established that I'm Canadian and I'm back in my lair, let's discuss General Hospital, shall we? Monday brought us a very special episode celebrating the 100th anniversary of a woman's right to vote in the United States. I know that some fans don't like these one-off special episodes, but personally I love them, especially when we get to see the cast do something different for a change. Some people don't like it when the show goes off the plot, but I mean, it could have been a lot worse. We could have been preempted because of the election, and I feel like it's safe to say that regardless where you swing on the voting spectrum, that none of us like when General Hospital gets interrupted by news, So thank God that didn't happen this week. Essentially, the plot of the episode is that Jocelyn is suddenly 18 years old, and it happens to be election day, and it's the first time she is able to vote, and she's kind of whatever about it, which disappoints Bobby and Carly, and they tell her about her great-great-grandmother, Beatrice Eckert, who was a driving force in fighting for women's rights to vote. Later, Jocelyn meets up with Trina at the art gallery where there is an exhibit on the women suffragists of Port Charles from 1920, and they happen to notice a picture of a woman that looks exactly like Carly. Clearly it's Beatrice. Side note, I love that Laura Wright has now played Lena Eckert and now Beatrice Eckert. Those family genes must be hella strong. Lucy Coe was in charge of setting up some of the artifacts from the exhibit, and when she lights a candle, just as Trina and Jocelyn go into an old-fashioned voting booth, when they leave the voting booth, they are transported to 1920, where they run right into Beatrice Eckert, along with many other women from 1920s Port Charles who happen to look a lot like modern-day women from Port Charles, who happen to have very similar names to the modern woman of Port Charles. That was hard to say. I did so many takes of that, by the way. Anyway, many shenanigans ensue, and Jocelyn and Trina just try their best not to mess with the space-time continuum, and in the end, all's well that ends well, except Trina and Jocelyn ended up in a photo with the women suffragists, so I don't know how that's gonna change anything. It won't. It won't, guys. This was a one-off episode. Remember, we're good. We're good to go. Hopefully. Anyway, it turns out that the reason why they went back in time is because the candle that Lucy lit had the word time at the bottom of that, and apparently that is a reference to something that happened in the spin-off show Port Charles. I didn't watch too much of it, so I didn't get the reference, but I bet a lot of Port Charles fans really appreciated it. I personally loved the episode. Like I said, I like getting to see the cast do different things, and I think that they had a blast shooting it. You could really tell that they were having fun. And also, I really appreciated that they did not have a single man in this episode. You guys notice that? Not a single man appeared in this episode. Girl power. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode in the comments below, and now let's talk about the rest of the week. Now, Franco is still harboring the secret that his tumor has returned, and he goes to Kevin for some advice, and Kevin thinks that he should just be honest with the people that he loves. Franco decides to be honest with the person that hates him the most instead. Jason Stone Cold Morgan, and he tells Jason that his tumor has returned, and that if he starts to act like the old Franco, that he needs to promise to murder him. And Jason's just like, bro, that is exactly what the old Franco would manipulate me into doing. I'm sure that Jason would thrive on the opportunity to murder Franco, but the situation is a little bit different now than it was back then. I mean, Jason's kid loves Franco. Elizabeth is the mother of his child, and she's married to Franco, so it's going to affect the people that he cares about. Now, while Franco is out there planning his own demise, Elizabeth is having a girls' night with Epiphany and Terry to try and help Epiphany get over her breakup with Milo. I actually really love that we're getting to see the hospital staff hang out with each other. We actually never see Epiphany outside of the hospital walls, so this has been kind of nice, although there is a little bit of a cloud lingering over their little get-together, not because Epiphany is sad, but because Terry knows that Franco's tumor has returned and she's hiding that from Elizabeth, and Epiphany notices, because Epiphany notices everything. I'm sure eventually Epiphany will get Terry to open up about what she's hiding, and then hopefully she'll tell Elizabeth the truth about Franco, or at least she'll go over to Franco herself and try to convince him to be honest with Elizabeth. But Franco is kind of immature, so I don't know if he'll actually do it, but I hope that he does, because I feel like if his personality returns to what it once was, then Elizabeth will be in danger if she's not prepared. Alright, let's talk about Alexis and Sam. Now, Alexis is still drinking herself into oblivion, and Sam catches her in the act once again, and things get really heated between the two of them. Sam is scared that Alexis's drinking is going to put her kids in danger, and Alexis deflects by saying, well, you're with a hitman, you're putting your own kids in danger anyway. Now listen, I know that Alexis is deflecting, but let's be real here. She's kind of telling the truth. And this is coming from a J-Sam fan, by the way. I love J-Sam, but Alexis isn't wrong, so I can't exactly deny what she's saying, even if it is a deflection on her part. Either way, Sam gives her an ultimatum. You either give up the booze or you never see my kids again. And Alexis sadly chooses the booze. Sam is obviously very upset, and she tells her mom that she is meeting up with Christina and Molly tomorrow, and that she's going to let them know that she has fallen off the wagon again. Hopefully one of Alexis's younger daughters gets through to her, and please let it be Christina, because we never actually see her anymore. Where is she? Alright, now let's talk about the mess that is Julian freaking Jerome. Now this guy meets up with Cyrus and tells him that he is willing to sell Charlie's pub to him on the condition that he helps him out with Ryan Chamberlain. Julian confesses literally everything to Cyrus for no, from the fact that he kept Wiley's paternity a secret from Michael to the fact that he nearly killed Lucas himself. Cyrus is so over the moon about it, and he agrees to help Julian with Ryan Chamberlain, and I find it hilarious because not even 2 minutes later, Ryan Chamberlain was dealt with. We gotta take things back just a little bit though. Sonny calls Ava over to the house because Ryan had reached out to him and he wants to know why he would do that. Ava did her best to try to get to Ryan first, but Sonny had gotten there before her, and Sonny hears Ava in the hallways, and when he goes out there to confront her, the second they come back in, Ryan already has a knife in his back and kills over. Now the reason I find it funny is because the scenes of Julian and Cyrus talking together were literally happening at the same time that Sonny and Ava were at Pentonville. So that happened super freaking fast. I mean, if Cyrus is really that lethal, how is it that he hasn't taken over Port Charles already? Ava meets up with Julian at the hospital to discuss what happened with Ryan, but Julian has another inquiry. He shows her the picture of the man on Trina's phone and says, this is the man that tackled me down when I was holding Nell at gunpoint. Obviously, Ava is shocked. That is Taggart. That is Trina's father. He's supposed to be dead. Julian isn't too worried because obviously a dead man can't go to the police about this, but Ava's worried that Sonny will somehow find out, and boy was she on the money. As you guys know, Sonny knows that Taggart is alive, and Taggart visits Sonny at his house because he's staying next door, hiding out at Kate Howard's house. But since they're alone, they have a little chit chat, and he mentions that a bartender has seen his face, and Sonny realizes that that bartender is Julian. Taggart mentions that that guy is who he saw hold a girl at gunpoint. Sonny shows Taggart the picture of Nell, and now Sonny is putting the pieces together. Sonny gets Jason to pick Julian up from the hospital and drags him back to the house. Now, obviously, I think we're coming to an end of Julian's story. It's hard to say whether he'll die at the hands of Sonny Corinthos or if he'll run for his life. But either way, it looks like things are coming to an end for him. Another character that I'm pretty sure we're going to see the end of soon is Lulu Spencer. Now, at the beginning of the week, we see her meeting up with one of Cyrus's goonies, and she tries to have a little chit chat with him, but then Dante spoils that for her, and she's pretty mad about it. Later, she meets up with Peter and shows an article that she wants to print. Peter says no because the article is just a lot of baseless accusations without any proof. So she's trying to work a different angle. She sees that Britt and Jason are playing pool in the same bar where she had the meeting with Peter, and she confronts her, and Britt leaves. Jason's kind of mad because he's trying to feel her out to see if he can get an in with her to go up against Cyrus somehow. Lulu tells Jason that she's trying to write an article about Cyrus, but Jason tells her to tread carefully because it could get her killed. Despite Jason's warning, Lulu decides to write a little social media post on Sonny and Cyrus and their potential mob war, and I think that that is Lulu's death note. I hate that Lulu might die here, but it seems like the writing is on the wall now. It certainly is a Cyrus-filled week in Port Charles. The hospital staff is fed up with Cyrus, and TJ is trying to set up a protest, but it was blocked by the PCPD, and then he learns that it was actually his mother that blocked the protest. TJ is pissed, and Portia showed up overhearing this, and she is just as confused. Cyrus tries to put both TJ and Portia in their place, and then when Portia and Jordan are alone, she puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that Jordan is a crooked cop. Jordan decides it is best to let Portia in on almost everything. She confesses that she is under Cyrus's thumb. She tells her about what he did to TJ and that he keeps threatening TJ, and Portia agrees that if she was in Jordan's position, she would probably do the same thing. Jordan does say that she is trying her best to take Cyrus down, but that she is struggling because he is everywhere that she goes, and Portia decides to help her out. Jordan has a little bit of a chit chat with Cyrus at the nurse's station and then collapses, and Portia's the one that runs to her. Portia puts Jordan in a room, and of course Cyrus insists that she gets the ultimate VIP treatment, and Portia of course agrees. Curtis shows up very terrified for his wife, but she and Portia fill him in on their plan. Basically, they are saying that there is something wrong with Jordan's kidney transplant, and that gives enough of a cover to put Jordan out of commission for a while so that they can sneak off and find a way to take Cyrus down. Curtis thinks it's a great time to find that person that Cyrus seems to care about that's out of town. Finally, we get to see what's going on there. I'm super stoked for this one. Finally, let's talk about Peter, Alex, Anna, and all the in-betweens. Now, as you guys know, Peter is terrified because he got that call from Helena. He was duped by Spinelli. Peter had met up with Valentine, who then puts it in his ear that maybe Spinelli used technology to manipulate it because there's no way Helena is alive. Peter then calls Spinelli to confront him on it, and he just takes both of his gloves off and shows his true character to Spinelli. I really hope that Spinelli recorded that conversation because he looked terrified, but not too terrified. I really hope that Spinelli was smart enough to think that maybe Peter was on to him. Meanwhile, as you guys know, Alex has Anna in a basement and she is disguising herself as Anna. Valentine then goes over to Anna's house and realizes pretty quickly that that is definitely Alex. And he decides to look around the house for Anna, and this is where I get so annoyed, okay? Because Anna, who's in the basement, managed to untie herself, and instead of running up for help, she screams for help, and Valentine hears her, and instead of going into the basement, he whispers at the top of the door, which gives Alex time to stab him and drug him, and then Anna comes out, and Alex has a knife to Valentine's throat. Now, even though Anna was armed and is a super spy, she decides to drop the gun and then gives Alex time to knock her out, and somehow Alex manages to take the two of them, put them in a warehouse with an Instapot, taps on the pipes to release gas, and sets the pot to blow up in an hour, which will cause an even bigger explosion. Of course, since Anna and Valentine are super spies, they managed to get out before the explosion happens, and I'm gonna be honest, that explosion was really sad. It was horrible. Now, while all of this is happening, Finn has already realized that there is a good chance that Alex might have Anna. Anna was supposed to meet up with him and Jackie and Chase at Charlie's and didn't show up. He talked on the phone with Anna, who was actually Alex impersonating her, and says that she didn't get the test results on Peter's DNA yet, but he saw the DNA papers in the garbage. So obviously the results were already in and Anna's nowhere to be found. That's when Robert gets the call about the explosion and it's pretty obvious to him that there is no coincidence when it comes to anything in Port Charles, and realizes that most likely Anna and Valentine were involved with that explosion. Robert goes to check it out and Finn stays at the house. Anna calls Finn from Robert's phone when he gets there and says that he is not safe, he is to leave the house, but that's when Alex and Maxie show up. Finn was still on the phone with Anna when Alex and Maxie showed up at the house, so he does his best to try and get Maxie out of there, but unfortunately, Alex caught on. Alex and Finn get in a scuffle, and Alex shoots Finn and kidnaps Maxie and takes her on to the Haunted Star. Anna eventually catches up with Maxie and Alex at the Haunted Star, and there's clearly going to be a showdown between the two of them. Now listen, I personally am struggling to like this story because I've watched enough clips from All My Children of Alex and Anna to know that Alex was not an evil twin sister. Alex and Anna really loved each other. There was nothing sinister about Alex whatsoever. She was a doctor and she was a good person. She was brainwashed once into thinking she was Anna, but that was resolved. Like, there's no reason for Alex to be this evil. None of this makes sense. Any portrayal of Alex that has been seen on General Hospital from the first time that they brought her back has made zero sense whatsoever. So it's just like, it's daunting. Alex would never try to kill Anna. Alex was never into the super spy business apart from when she was brainwashed as Anna. So it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's my review of General Hospital this week. I hope you enjoyed it, but before I let you go, just a reminder, I am doing GHMV Reacts all month long. I am reacting to some classic confrontational moments. Let me know what confrontational moments you'd like to watch with me in the comments below. And if you like this video here, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Let me hold it down.